Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your patience. For our next presentation, we have Luann, Honora, and Karen. They're going to talk about co-marketed Gen AI with AWS. Please welcome Honora, Luann, and Karen.
Yay!
Hi.
All right. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Just a quick show of hands. Like, how many people in the room are marketers? Great. So wanted to open the session and talk about all the things you're seeing here on the show floor that many of you have helped produce, be either creating content or really understanding a new marketing domain. And I'm so pleased today to be presenting with Karen Feldman, the CMO of IBM,
Consulting.
and Luann Tierney, the CMO of Mission Cloud. And we're going to talk to you about storytelling. Because as we know, when any new technology is adopted, the first thing people try to understand is the story behind it. So today, I'm not going to take a lot of time because I really want you to hear from these two amazing CMOs and marketers about what they're seeing in the market with their clients, and talk to us about some experiments that they've run and how we can all benefit from storytelling in articulating what is the technical value proposition of generative AI in a way that consumers and marketers can understand that. So we're going to go over some key trends, the best practices of storytelling, because sometimes we all see that sometimes the stories aren't all that great, but we all look to raise the bar and tell a better narrative so that we're conveying the true end value to not only the customer, but the customer's customer. And then at the end, hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A. So with that, this is what we're seeing from an AWS perspective. We see that generative AI offers an enhanced customer experience. We see this in telco, we see it in retail, we see it in healthcare, but we're also seeing things like Code Whisper really improve productivity. And as marketers, that's something that people care about, is how do you tell a story about how you're coding faster and delivering more value? So again, today we're going to hear from Luann at Mission Cloud and Karen at IBM. So I will turn it over to you, Karen.
Great. All right. So I saw a lot of our audience are marketers. Let's ask a couple of other questions. We've got the 12 p.m. slot, right? So let's keep this interactive. How many of you in marketing are experimenting with generative AI today for your marketing functions?
Experimenting.
All right. So we're seeing maybe 30% of the marketers are experimenting. How many of you are using generative AI at scale to support your marketing function? All right. We saw one.
Yeah.
So Luann is going to talk to us about what she's doing. But I think for all of us, we realize the promise is there, but we're still very early in our journeys, and our clients are as well. But I have to say, I lead marketing and communications for IBM Consulting. It's our business consulting division within IBM. I took this role on about 18 months ago. And this has been a wild ride, I think, for all of us. So first of all, it was exactly 1 year ago yesterday that generative AI was introduced to all of us as consumers with the launch of ChatGPT. It's a marketer's dream. We don't have to build the demand. The demand it's already there. But for all of us in the AWS ecosystem, we're now telling the stories, and we're trying to shape that demand for what does it mean for generative AI for business. It's a really exciting time for all of us, and I think for all of us in marketing, we should be really proud. When you think about AWS reInvent 1 year ago, generative AI was not a topic. And now you walk around this floor, and everyone in the entire AWS ecosystem has pivoted to tell their stories about generative AI. So the first thing I want to do is just give us all a round of applause.
All the content you all built for this.
All the content that we all built. It takes a village from all of our companies, but this is a session on marketing, so we're going to celebrate the marketers here. So the other thing that I would say, though, is our clients, as we all know, they're so early in their journeys. They're still trying to get educated. But for us in IBM Consulting, the number one questions that we hear from our clients are, where do I get started? What are the use cases that are going to deliver the most value? whether that be productivity gains, new forms of customer experiences, new business models that they can deliver. But how do we also shift from experimentation to scale, right? Just like we're seeing in marketing, that's where our clients are. In IBM Consulting, we believe experience and AI have to go hand in hand. The way we're going to drive adoption is by creating the right experiences for us as customers, us as consumers, but also for all of us as employees. And that's how we'll drive the change management that we need. So there's no better way for us to help shape the market and drive that adoption than through client storytelling. It is not a new strategy. It's core to our partnership at AWS and IBM Consulting and IBM. And we're actually really proud that we have one of the first client references for generative AI with Bouygues Telecom. So Bouygues Telecom is a customer. It's a telecommunications provider who worked with us using AWS SageMaker, large language models, and they've transformed their customer experience by ingesting 6 million customer records and putting that in the hands of their agents so they could improve the customer experience. That's an incredibly powerful story. But for all of us as marketers, we actually know the way stories are going to resonate the best for us is make it personal for me, make it relevant for me. That means for me as a marketer, I want to understand, now that I've got generative AI in the hands of my agents, what types of new experiences can I deliver for my customers? But my technology peer wants to hear about the LLMs. What decisions did we make and why? And what type of time did it take to implement? What were the barriers and the hurdles? In other words, we need personalized client storytelling, right? But today, that's a barrier for us in marketing. I'm a data person. It's a simple P times Q story. In order to create more personalized content, we need either more people, more time, or more money. And I don't know that any of us have that.
There's never more.
There's never more money in marketing, exactly. So how do we start to deliver those personalized experiences? And that last slide, the Goldilocks moment, we believe that's what generative AI is going to do for us. We'll be able to deliver personalization at scale, but also productivity at scale. And that's how we're going to fund and automate the need for that personalized content. So what I wanted to do was just bring this to life for all of you with one example of a client story that we put in the market and an experiment that we ran within marketing to deliver more personalized content and the learnings that we had. So last April, we had a campaign surrounding the Masters. So as background, IBM and the Masters have a long-standing partnership. It's over 25 years. We power the digital fan experience so that we can complement this iconic sporting event with a digital app where you can personalize your viewing experience. You can follow your favorite golfers, you can compare them with match insights, and every year we try and innovate a bit more. This year we introduced spoken voice commentary using generative AI.
So cool.
It was very cool. And we had over 100 million video views in the app.
Nice.
So it was incredible, really well received. So we decided to tie our campaign to this. And so we started with a simple concept, what if? Yeah. What if you could remaster the Masters? And it was really done as a provocation for our audience so that they could say, if we can do this and drive this kind of innovation, for golf, what could it mean for me in my business? And so we ran a simple experiment using text to image, if we want to turn the slide. Wow. We were a beta customer of Adobe Firefly. And what we did is we took that same what if concept with the question mark and just created relevant assets to bring that to life so we could reach the audience across our channels. And we had some really key learnings along the way. So first of all, we were able to produce much more content in a fraction of the time that it took. All right, so we had 200 assets, 1,000 derivative assets that we were able to put into market. So for us, what that means is the real cost in marketing, it's not the big idea, it's not the big campaign that we're developing, it's all the manual tasks and efforts that we have to do to try and build the content at scale. So as we apply generative AI going forward, we want to take away all those manual and repetitive tasks. We want to automate the content creation so we can build more of that content we need so we can tell personalized stories. Second key learning, not surprising, but personalized content and messaging performs better. So in this case, it was 26 times better than our social benchmark. And the third was our marketers had a lot of fun, right? Experimentation and scale is how we drive creativity and speed. So as we move forward, we obviously have to move forward with generative AI in a way that's safe for our brand. It's a 112-year-old brand. We can't do anything that's going to risk that brand. But we want to put creative assistance in the hands of every single one of our marketers so that they can get back to having fun in marketing and they can experiment and drive new ideas and creativity at scale.
I love that. Driving creativity and scale. How many people want to experiment with Gen AI in marketing? More? Yes, all of us. All right. Well, now we're going to hear from Luann at Mission Cloud and let you jump right in.
Okay, so first of all, speaking of personalization, how many of you were at our Ignite party last night with Ludacris? How many of you were there till the bitter end? Yes?
Only you, only you.
I see a few of them right over there. So Gen AI, the beauty of Gen AI and marketing, it's about personalization. We have a 4-pronged strategy, but I'm going to give you 2 tips today. One is around our product marketing. So we built, let's go to the next slide.
Okay.
We took how many of you have done a podcast today using generative AI? So a very brilliant young man by the name of Casey Samoliski, who's right there, who is back there. And we're very fortunate at Mission Cloud because for the last 3 years, we've had Dr. Ryan Reese on our team. He's a data scientist. We've been doing Gen AI before it was kind of trendy and the top thing. We have 20 customers already and 50 in POC. And what we see with these prospects and potential clients is they want to hear those stories, just like what Karen was talking about. So Casey produced a podcast called Mission Generate using a tool called Wondercast, synthesized both his and Ryan's voices, and built 5 episodes in 5 days. Pretty badass, right? I mean, this is what we're seeing is customers want to hear those stories, and they don't always want to read the content, so they'll listen to a podcast. So they heard stories like Mixbook. So Mixbook is a photo book application. And what they came to us was they wanted faster processing and lower adoption rate. Because what was happening is people were on their tool trying to add photos to the mix, and then they were getting kind of frustrated and abandoning the project. So we worked with Amazon, AWS, and built a really great solution for them, and they're seeing the processing of those photo books going through the roof.
Wow.
And then we had another, but we also have customers or prospects that are a little farther in their AI journey, like Assembly AI. They take voice data and they turn it into content and applications. So they came to Ryan's Strategic Alliances team, his solutions architect, and said, you know what, help us build so that we can go much faster. And what we did is we put something in place, and now their processing of those applications goes much faster. But what this podcast does is talks them through the journey of how we help them. Because I'm sure all of you, when you're out with your CIOs or prospects, they all want to know, what did you do and how did you build it? And that's what this podcast brings to life. It kind of brings generative AI to every person. So the other thing we do is we really tie our solutions architect with our engineering and our sales. So for example, MyTheo is a real estate platform. We had Ryan and his team meet with my Theo, figure out, they came to us and they said, we want to monetize more things through our platform. So with the Titan model, we built, voice searching, customer newsletters for real estate agents, and that we share that story in our podcast. So what we're finding is the customers, when they're looking for a generative AI solution, they want us to meet them whether they're at the beginning of their journey or already at a certain point with generative AI. And then how many of you saw Mission Cloud on main stage yesterday with Ruba? So Magellan TV is a great example of a company. They do video editing and dubbing internationally. They were in the US. They were spending about $1,000 an hour to do editing. And they came to us and said, how can we want to do much more film dubbing and stuff internationally? They wanted to scale internationally. And we said, okay, we did the Titan model, the Bedrock model, put something in place, and they were able to bring the cost of that down to $6 an hour. So huge.
1,000 to six.
I know.
Wow.
That's why. And we did that deal through Marketplace. I mean, it's a great overall story, but this is the example of what Mission is doing. We are just trying to tell those stories, whether you're at the beginning of your AI journey or further along, and you want to hear best practices. So the bottom line is what we're doing in marketing. It's about customer stories, meeting them where they're at, and using some pretty cool technologies that are out there right now. And we really appreciate the AWS partnership. Pretty excited. We won some fabulous awards this week. So thanks so much for having us and letting us share our story.
Great. I think in closing, one of the aspects about marketing that we all focus on is content, and I think a lot of people default to content because we have 3 minutes left, so we're going to do some Q&A. So we default to content, and I think we're seeing the stories of you're able to create all of that content, both from what you saw at IBM and what you're seeing at Mission, much, much faster. But I think you still need marketers to help consolidate and structure that and edit it to formulate a really robust campaign.
But it's also that personalization.
Yeah,
I think we were
right.
all saying. I mean, so many marketers are worried about their jobs, but what it enables us is to do marketing much faster, but also really hit on the key points people are interested in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the Wall Street Journal article recently, it said that Gen AI is not really going to eliminate as many jobs as it is going to eliminate many tasks.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It frees us all up to be creative.
Yes.
Again, it's creativity at scale.
And we like that time back.
We love that time back.
One thing I'm asking my team to do as marketers is really play around with all the new marketing tools. Make sure when you're working with your teams, ask them, are you experimenting with new tools in generative AI marketing tools? Because once we see the podcast and things like that, they then kind of feel a lot more confident about what they're doing and are able to actually do a lot more and be a lot more creative.
Are there any marketing tools you want to call out and mention?
Well, I love Wondercast. That's what Casey used in the podcast. I mean, there's so many content tools out there. We're experimenting with a few of them. Writer, there's, Olivia, we're doing tasks with generative AI. I mean, it's just, we're trying some new ways to go through all the Gong content. So using Gong, how many of you guys have Gong in your company? So we're looking for keywords, hearing what our prospects, our customers are saying, what's great about Mission, and then going, okay, or what problem you're solving, using that tool, and then going back and writing better content.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you're also experimenting continuously.
We are continuously experimenting, and one of the things that we're actually doing, again, because we want to scale this safely and we want to get to a place where we can produce the content and trust the content and put it out there. So we're doing the hard work now to make sure we're feeding our data into the tools and the technology so that we can truly have creative assistance that'll help. And there's some things that we've done at IBM for other functions, Ask HR, right, where we've taken those manual repetitive tasks away and we've made it simpler for all of us as employees to have a conversational interaction and get our questions answered. There are things like Ask Brand that we could do. When you think about the global size of a company like IBM, our brand team gets thousands of requests in a year for content and brand guidelines, and having something like an Ask Brand, we can again take away those manual tasks and activities and give that team more time to produce amazing content.
Yeah, we just used Canva AI to produce, so we have a big billboard out in a few locations. We use that, put our people, real people in it, but we didn't have to spend huge dollar amounts on graphics and design. So that's also a huge savings, is really investigate kind of Canva and Canva AI. We've had good success with that.
Well, I just want to say thank you to you both. Thank you to our audience. Thank you for all the marketing effort that produced this show. Yeah. And I hope you all have a wonderful reInvent and continue to experiment, use generative AI, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. This was great.